Today, we're looking at a quick overview of ZEDEDA Cloud. We'll start here on the dashboard, and you can see it's all of the information that you would want just at a glance. What's the status of my edge nodes? What's the status of my edge apps? What are the latest events and the severity of those events? All the things that you would look for on initially logging in. So next, let's talk projects. And you can see these projects right up here. And there are quite a few on this particular enterprise. Projects are your basic container in ZEDEDA Cloud. Let's take a closer look. So here you can see the projects that are configured in this enterprise. Let's dig into one. So we start with the basic information of this project. Let's dig into the deployments though. A deployment is essentially a subcontainer within a project. Let's see what this means. For this particular deployment, called Academy West, we have a number of policies configured. First and most importantly, the edge nodes policy. This tells, first and foremost, which edge nodes should be part of this deployment. And we do this using tags. Right, so if the tag is configured on the edge node, in this case, the tag node location is set to west. This is the deployment that will be applied. Also in the edge nodes policy, we can turn on edge node attestation. That is remote attestation of that edge node's PCR values using their trusted platform module. More on that in a little bit. We can configure the networking. We can configure the volumes for these edge nodes. We can configure the edge apps. If an edge node is part of this deployment and it has the tag has AI true, it's going to get the edge app AI sensor automatically installed on it. And any nodes that are in other projects, but then moved to this project, given that tag, they'll automatically download and install that AI sensor app. We can also turn on Edge View. That is direct access to EVOS or to the actual Edge application instances themselves directly through ZEDEDA Cloud. Here we're using another tag, Edge View enabled. So if an Edge node that's part of this deployment has that appropriate tag on it, we'll be able to get directly into the operating system. We'll be able to get to the application for troubleshooting purposes. Next, let's take a closer look at our edge nodes. Here we can see the edge nodes that are part of this enterprise from all projects. We haven't selected a specific one in the upper right corner. And digging into any one of these, let's choose EA Demo. We can see a lot of information about the edge node. We can see that this one's currently in a suspect run state, which means it hasn't been online for a while. We can see that it's using the hardware security module, or TPM chip, to verify that nothing has changed on this device since it was last booted. We can see that it's encrypted and that there's virtualization enabled. We can also see utilization, the CPU, the memory, the storage, the network, all the things you would expect. Here we see the basic information about this edge node, such as its resources and networking. Here we can see the adapters for this edge node, so the networking adapters, of course, and their purpose, as well as other I/O adapters. Now, these I/O adapters can be tied to specific applications, so literally any input or output for a USB port goes directly to a specific application if needed, or we can turn them off completely so that anything plugged in won't have any effect whatsoever. We can see the storage and the disks on this. As well as any events that have happened on this device. Onboarding devices into ZEDEDA Cloud is easy. All you need on the device itself is EVOS, ZEDEDA's open source Edge operating system. No configuration is needed at all. When that Edge device boots up with an internet connection, it will reach out to ZEDEDA Cloud and automatically download its full configuration, including Edge apps. Let's head over and take a look at those Edge apps. Deploying Edge apps is simple in ZEDEDA Cloud. There's actually a couple of different ways to do it. We'll start here on the Edge app instances screen and just click that plus sign in the upper right corner. First, we choose the Edge app. These actually aren't hosted by ZEDEDA. These would be hosted in a data store that you configure. So this could be Docker Hub or GitHub or your own local data store. We'll choose this AI sensor app. And it tells the resources that are needed for this app to run. Let's choose a project. And within that project, we see the Edge nodes that are available. Recall, we could just assign this Edge app directly to the project and have all Edge nodes in the project, or at least within one deployment, have this app. But here we're doing this manually. So let's select, say, EA Demo. And you could select multiple, you could select all. Next, the name of this Edge app instance. So what we want to call this Edge app on the specific nodes on which we've deployed it. I think AI sensor will do just fine. Next, the networking, including the firewall rules associated with this Edge app. We'll leave the defaults here. Any custom configuration or cloud init type of script would go here. And we're ready to deploy. We get a quick review screen, and let's do it. And we're back at the Edge app instance's main screen. Let's take a look at the other way to deploy Edge apps. So this is the marketplace. This is essentially your own local app store for your Edge apps. The deployment from here, once you click on the deploy button, looks exactly the same as it did from the Edge app instances screen. In fact, you can see we're now on Edge app instances. Once again, going back to the main Edge app instances screen, you can see for any of these, let's choose this one, you can see that app's own utilization, all its resource usage, its status, and so on. You can see events around this specific Edge app. You can even see the logs for this Edge app. And in this case, there were none recently. That's better. Note that ZEDEDA is not in the data path at all. However, if configured, we can show the logs from that application. And this is directly from that application. We can also take these logs and send them up to a SIM for further analysis. ZEDEDA Cloud also has built-in reporting. So you can see events by time and by severity, as well as a number of other instant reports. If we look at utilization all around in the last 12 hours, it's as simple as that. And that's just a quick look at ZEDEDA Cloud. Thanks for watching.